Cinema Classics is sponsored by the Gateway Film Center and is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. Listen to shows online at wcbe.org. I'm Johnny DiLoretto.
I'm John DeSando.
This is Cinema Classics.
It sure is. But what is this director's cut stuff?
Well, you are no doubt aware of Justice League, the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, like about 40 hours.
Can you imagine wanting any more of a Zack Snyder movie? First of all,
he does.
Yeah, this guy is one of the worst big-name directors maybe that's ever. He's still getting by on the fumes of that movie 300. You remember that movie?
I sure do.
300, and I think before that he had a nice little remake of Dawn of the Dead. Those two movies, and this guy is still, everything he's done since has either reeked or has been a disappointment. And yet, here we are with the Snyder Cut version of the Justice League on HBO.
Which I think is about 4 hours.
It is about 4 hours. And now, after having said all of that, I can't wait to see it.
I know. So
I have not seen it.
All right, so you're telling me a basic definition is it's the cut the director wants, and it usually implies a longer version.
Not, it doesn't always mean that.
I know that.
But in this case, not to belabor it, I'm sure a lot of people already know, but when Zack Snyder was shooting Justice League, his oldest daughter, I believe, committed suicide.
Right.
And he had to step away from the project. In walks Joss Whedon, who finished it, and I guess drastically changed a lot of the material, veered from the script, etc. So Snyder was left feeling unfulfilled and created this myth about the Snyder Cut, right? And so he created, here it is, in all 4 hours. They were going to release it as a series, I think.
Okay. And sometimes it's a cut for artistic reasons.
Yeah.
There's actually a cut. So I'm thinking I have one here. Yes, the Wild Bunch.
Mm-hmm.
It was shown theatrically in Los Angeles to sold-out audiences, the director's cut, and it was actually 10 minutes cut to get an R rating.
Yeah.
And it was so much better.
So see, sometimes it's about that, right?
Yeah.
It's about cutting, making little incisions here and there to shape a film. Other times, you can blame the existence of director's cuts on the producers or the studios, because they often pull a film away from a director and make ungodly changes to it to appease to the market.
One that we've referred to now and then would have to be the Magnificent Ambersons.
Oh yeah, of course.
When Orson
right?
Welles was gone.
They were already mad at him for Citizen Kane.
Robert Wise took a hold of it, and frequently it's a different ending than the director wanted. And
right,
Welles
usually
was
a happy ending.
Really, yes.
So there's a story about Brazil. You remember that film, Terry Gilliam?
Yeah.
So Terry Gilliam's dystopian sort of vision of the future.
Right.
The producer wanted him to make it a happy romantic ending.
Yes.
So he slapped this on there, and then Gilliam took it to the press. He battled this guy in the press for it, and essentially shamed the guy into changing it back to his original vision. But yeah, happy endings, sometimes they feel like, here's a version I read about too. I have not seen either one of these cuts. Ridley Scott's Kingdom of Heaven. The Orlando Bloom kind of Crusader epic, right? Apparently, they butchered this movie because they thought it was too. They wanted it to be more like Gladiator, which it was nothing like. It's since been restored. Scott has since restored it to his vision, and now it's like considered a great film.
Because maybe the most famous example relative to that director would have to be Blade Runner, in which he finally brings in 8 versions. 8 versions. Final cut in 2007.
Apparently, yes, the definitive version is the 2007 version.
That's madness, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. The one that I think I'm most familiar with, in terms of the theatrical release and the director's cut, is Apocalypse Now.
Mm-hmm.
back in, I think, the early 2000s, they released Apocalypse Now Redux. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
What did you think of that?
I was disappointed. I've got to be disappointed. I was disappointed because I loved the original edition.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all. And
see, I loved that version.
Yeah.
Because at the time it was so exciting to see that whole French plantation scene.
Yeah.
Which sort of adds this dreamy quality, but like a respite from all the hallucinatory stuff. But in hindsight, I think it's just a curiosity, right?
Oh yeah.
Now there's since a third cut, the definitive cut, which I haven't seen.
I'll tell you one. It's funny because the movie bombed anyway. At Michael Cimino's Heaven's Gate.
Oh yes.
They had a longer cut. They recalled the longer cut from the theaters.
Yeah.
Subsequently showed it on cable and eventually released it to home video.
Right. Now I've read, and I have not seen the definitive director's cut, but they say it's really great. Because that's the truth of the matter is, when it comes down to it, as we always talk about, we are auteur theorists, right? The director is the voice of the film.
Yeah, boy.
The director is the key.
We're going to blame the director.
Artistic. Well, I don't. I blame studios and producers. I blame money men for making decisions that affect the overall artistic integrity of a film. Just let the director do what they want, and that's it. That should be the end of it. And then, and I also don't understand, like, I think it's kind of cool. It's fun in a lot of ways to have a director kind of tinker.
I do too. To go back and I now and then get crabby about it, just as you had said. Let the director have the ending, but you know how few of them get to do their own endings?
Yeah.
You have to be Scorsese to get, and I don't even know that he always gets the final cut.
Right, or you have to be operating on this, like, I'm sure Wes Anderson doesn't get a whole lot of, they know what they're getting
right.
when they, you know what I mean?
Yeah. One that I always thought was problematic was a film that you and I both adore.
Yeah.
Close Encounters of a Third Kind.
Oh, yes, right. They wanted him to show the inside of the mothership. I don't think he wanted it.
They got it.
But I think I did recently see the director's cut of that, and it's a glorious film. I mean,
well, that's the first time, or maybe the most prominent time, when they used the word special edition.
Yes, right. It was called a special edition.
Right, special
edition.
And it was closer to Spielberg's intent.
Mm-hmm.
But they still got the ending they wanted.
Which is,
I think, The Little People. Isn't that the one with the little kitty
like
stuff?
But it is. I remember, it's also like you don't really get a clear look at them. That's what I love about it.
I know.
There's just these shapes.
But isn't that the one where you can? Yeah, they are. But they're still clearly childlike in figure.
Yes. Right.
Which kind of sends a neat message.
I love it.
Yeah.
It leads right to E.T., right?
Yeah.
His vision of aliens as peaceful and childlike.
And let me see. Yeah, okay. So another piece of information. The first film to use the term director's cut as a marketing description.
Yeah.
The 1992 recut of Blade Runner. And it's the first time it was used to describe a cut that the director was not involved in preparing. How about that? So they took it and used it as a marketing tool.
Yeah.
It really wasn't the director's cut.
I noticed there's a lot of Ridley Scott movies.
Yeah, I know.
That get recut.
Well, Peter Jackson and James Cameron are also involved in this kind of stuff,
mm-hmm.
preferring the phrases special and extended edition.
So one more,
yes.
And then we got to wrap up.
Yeah.
A smaller movie, and again, I haven't seen it. I hate to say. There's a movie by Kenneth Lonergan. You remember that guy?
Sure, I do.
Manchester by the Sea, and
he's just kind of fuzzy stuff.
Right. You Can Count on Me.
Yeah.
So he made a movie called Margaret a few years ago.
Yeah.
And it was like a dramatic look at a woman who's involved in a fatal car accident or something like that, and it's a Kenneth Lonergan movie, so all eyes are on this guy, because he's one of these artistic voices we anticipate new work from. Apparently it was atrocious. Scorsese stepped in, helped him restore it to its original 3-hour length, and now it's considered a minor masterpiece. And you can find it. You can find a lot of this stuff all streaming. You got to make sure you got to sometimes have to do a little research on what the run times are. I have noticed every once in a while the director's cut comes in shorter.
Yes.
Yeah, which is interesting. Richard Donner's Superman 2 cut is shorter than the original Richard Lester version. And oddly enough, on HBO right now, you can find the director's cut of Killing of a Chinese Bookie. John Cassavetes movie.
Oh, there's...
Which is shorter.
Which, should be. Most of his movies.
Anyway,
yes.
It's an interesting artistic phenomenon, the director's cut.
I am certain that we have clarified for our audience the meaning of director's cut.
So clear. We need a director's cut of this show.
Never.